Well, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna. I hope you have a cozy drink. I am drinking a pumpkin iced chai today. I, at the grocery store, found pumpkin chai tea by Tazo, and then I got this almond milk pumpkin spice creamer. So even though it is 90 degrees outside, I still want to feel like it's fall. So if you have a drink and got something cozy, because today I am doing the BookTube newbie tag. First question in this tag is, why did I start my channel? So I actually kind of grew up on BookTube. I'm only 23, and so I feel like I kind of grew up in the golden age of YouTube, and a big part of that for me was BookTube and just watching all of these other YouTubers talk about their favorite books, and I was always kind of too shy to start a channel, and I finally decided, heck, why not? I need a hobby, and so I decided to start one. I would just really love to start finding other like-minded individuals who have the same reading interests as me and just talk about books and have a fun time. I don't really expect this to be like a full-time job or make any money. I'm just doing it for fun. The next question is, what are some fun or unique things that I can bring to BookTube? And outside of my great personality, I really don't know. I really plan on sticking to like some basic videos, just like wrap-ups and TBRs and some basic book reviews or discussions. One thing I do want to start doing is keeping like a commonplace book or a reading journal for my reads. And I've been saying I'm going to do this for like years, but I actually think I'm going to start doing it. And one thing in that book is writing down new words that I learned, because even though I am an adult, I am still learning the English vocabulary. So I think it would be kind of neat to, at the end of each month, look back and see, what did I learn from these books? Because even though I read primarily fiction, it can still be educational. So I think that'd be really cool to share with you guys vocabulary words that I'm learning. What am I most excited for with this new channel? Really, I am just most excited about meeting and making friends that have the same reading interests and talking about that. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm also really excited that this is going to be challenging me because I'm not a naturally extroverted person. And so I think putting myself out there is going to be a unique challenge for me and really help expand my skills and get me outside of my comfort zone. Why do I love reading? I mean, I don't really know how to put it into words. It's a little bit of everything. It's my time at the end of the day, because really when I do most of my reading is at the end of the day. My chores are done, I've wrapped up everything I need to do, and I know there's nothing else I need to do except take the next breath and read a good book. And so I always set aside at least an hour every night to read. And so that might not mean that I read as much as other people on the internet, but I do get that precious hour of just me time every day where I can sit down and just do something enjoyable, whether that's a nonfiction book or fiction or something silly or a romance or whatever, and I just get to sit down and enjoy it and connect with the author, connect with the characters, and it's just a really special time for me. I love that I can just, for that 1 hour, escape anything that's going on in the world and immerse myself in a world where it's interesting and fun and full of adventure. I mean, who doesn't love adventure? Like being a kid and, you play make-believe with your friends. It's kind of like that same experience, except it's just you and a book and your couch and your comfy cup of tea. The next question is, what book series got you into reading? So this is kind of a complicated question for me because I have been a lifelong reader. Every day growing up, I was homeschooled, so every day growing up, one of my parents would read to me, and it was mostly my mom, and she would read to me Little House on the Prairie, the Narnia books, and Anne of Green Gables, Five Children and It, those classic, wonderful, heartwarming stories. And I've just always had a love for literature because of that. And that was part of our homeschool curriculum, is we would sit down and we'd read every day. We'd read aloud, we'd take turns. My mom would read, my brother would read, I would read. And so I just grew up loving that. And outside of that, occasionally my dad would read us a book as well. He mainly read us like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And it was just such a special time where every night or every afternoon I'd sit down with one of my parents and would read a story. And I loved that connection with my parents during that time. It was such a special time, and I love having those memories. And I guess it's kind of partly why I'm starting the BookTube channel is I really miss having that daily discussion around literature. Now, as I got older, obviously we didn't do that as much, but I continued reading, and I think the series that really got me like into BookTube particularly and got me into reading things that I was like, oh, I can pick my own books and I can read what I like to read. It's not just like whatever my parents decide, which they had great taste in books, so I'm not complaining. But that would have to be the Percy Jackson series. I'm not gonna lie. This was like the first series I remember signing up for like a year in advance, like pre-ordering the book, going to Barnes & Noble, riding my bike down to the bookstore and picking it up, and just being so freaking excited to read and find out what happens next. Oh my gosh, I loved this series growing up. And so I really think this just like catapulted me into the young adult realm, which I don't read a whole lot of young adult anymore. But man, I was so into it in high school and middle school. And I remember too, not only was this like really big on BookTube, I mean, who doesn't love the Percy Jackson series, right? But also other kids in my youth group were into it. So I got to read it and discuss it with them. And so it was just a really fun experience. The next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Honestly, like what comes to front of mind for me is, how do you read so much? Like, I mean, like a lot of them, it is their full-time job. So there's that. But I feel like I'm lucky if I get to 3 books a month. Like that's stretching it for me. And so I'd really like to know, how do you read so much and how do you retain it? I would love to be able to get, I mean, I say that, but like as a teenager, I would go through books like crazy, but then again, I had a lot more free time being a homeschooled high schooler. But yeah, like as adults with jobs outside of BookTube, how do you read so much? I'd love to know, because I would like to read that much. Next question is, what challenge will be the hardest to overcome? For me, I think it's definitely going to be putting myself out there. Like I said, I'm pretty shy and I've been wanting to do this for years, but it's just been hard. So I think just definitely getting over that initial hump, and then also the technology aspect of BookTube. As you can tell, I am looking into my screen instead of into the camera most of the time. Not only that, and I'm very aware right now that the audio for this video is not great. I want to get like one of those cool microphones. Like, I think her name's Mina Lee. She does like commentary on fashion. She has like a microphone and she talks into it, and she looks so fabulous. And I want one of those. I think that'd be fun. A little microphone, talk about books. But I'm just trying it out for now, so I'm not gonna drop hundreds of dollars on a microphone currently, but definitely goals for that. And just like learning how to edit, make fun thumbnails, and interact with people. I'm not a big social media person. I actually deleted all of my social media about 4 years ago. So reopening that platform and then sticking to my boundaries of like just using it for BookTube, I think is going to be a big challenge for me as well. But we'll see how that goes. Next is, what kind of books do I like to read? I honestly kind of read a little bit of everything. I really love cozy fantasy. I didn't think that was going to be a genre that I was going to like, but honestly, shout out to my boss. She got me into it. The book that kind of gotten me out of my reading slump as of recently is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. Love that. Oh my gosh. I'm going to do like a whole discussion. I have so many thoughts on these. I'm like this close to being done with BookTube. I'm probably going to finish it today. And then I'm going to do a whole video talking about my thoughts. But I love fantasy, especially cozy fantasy. I was hoping for a little more like Tinkerbell fairies in there. I wasn't really expecting like the Eat You Alive fairies, but like, I'll take it. You know, like I love like Lord of the Rings and Narnia, anything with like soft magic systems. I love that. Anything about Greek mythology. I'm not huge on Roman mythology. I'll take it or leave it, but Greek mythology, love that. Like any retelling. And then I love Victorian novels, Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte. I love the humor in it. I love how it's so, even though they were written, gosh, hundreds of years ago now, it's still like, oh yeah, that's relatable. I love learning about that. I mean, I'm a history major. Got my degree through Liberty, and with it was an emphasis in early American history. So just honestly being able to read his like fiction, it's not historical fiction because it was written during that time, so it wasn't historical then, but being able to just like look back and be like, ah, yeah, humans haven't changed. They just dressed a little differently. You know, it's so fun. I love that. So I'm a big fan of classics. I am reading Anna Karenina as my classic currently, and I say that, and I have been reading it for 3 years. So that's kind of the book that I read in between other books, because I'll read like one chapter of it and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And then he'll go on a tangent about Russian politics for 3 pages. And I'm like, this is incredibly boring. But I do really love classics. I love big fat books. Fat books, like Count of Monte Cristo. Perfect. Loved it. I mean, it was like that swashbuckling adventure that I needed in my life, and it was long as I hate short books. I really hate short books because I feel like as soon as I get into it, it's over. But if like I have a longer book, I can like get to know the characters, I get to know the author and the writing style, and then it's just there to sustain me. It's kind of like when you have a TV show with a lot of seasons. That's what it feels like for me. So I really love that. A genre that I don't like, but I really wish I did, is sci-fi. Like, I know like Star Wars has the novels and Ender's Game and Dune and what have you, and I love the concept of it. But literally every time I pick up a book and it's sci-fi, like, and I'm talking sci-fi as in like spaceships and aliens, my eyes glaze over and I can't process it. It is like so boring to me, and I don't know, and I really wish I liked it, because that's part of what I like about fantasy is all the lore and the world building and the system building. But for some reason, as soon as you shift from it being elves and magic to spaceships and aliens, I hate it. And I really wish I didn't. Like, I wish I liked it so badly, but I can't get behind it. And last question on the list is, what does your book collection look like? You're kind of looking at it. When I moved from California to Alaska, I decluttered a lot of books and just really kept some of my nice hardbacks that I've been collecting as a teenager. And to be honest, it probably won't grow a whole lot because books are expensive. Last time I was in Barnes & Noble, and I don't remember them ever being this expensive, I went into Barnes & Noble to get the second book in the Emily Wilde series because, long story short, right now my library is flooded. They have been doing repairs for about 2.5 months now. So I was like, okay, I'll go buy the book. No, I did not buy the book because it was $38. I'm sorry, what? I have a mortgage to pay. I can spend $38 every week on a book. So I mainly utilize my library when it is not flooded. And if I have to, I'll order the book. They'll order it for me. I can go, I can pick it up, I can keep it for as long as I need, read it, and return it. And not only does it save me $38 every week, but I think it's also a lot more sustainable for the environment. And so I like that. And no shade to anyone who like buys books. I love watching bookshelf tours and hauls. I think it's so fun, especially for the people that can afford to do that. I love that for them. But for me, it just fits my lifestyle a bit better to rent things from the library and just buy the books that I really truly love, like my classics or my Percy Jackson series, or one of my favorites is my illustrated editions of Harry Potter. I will continue to collect those because those are things that I really love and would like to pass down in my family one day. You know, nice editions of classics, like my favorite ever edition of Pride and Prejudice. Isn't this the most gorgeous book you've ever seen in your entire life? It's linen bound, it is yellow, it's Jane Austen. Love that. So there are certain things that I will continue to collect, but really, especially with newer reads, a lot of young adult novels that probably won't be considered classics in our lifetime, I probably won't buy, but I would like to continue to build up a nice collection of classics and books that I really love. slowly, but I'm not in any rush, so mainly I just use the library. Well, that is the end of the tag. I know it was kind of a shorter video today, but I just wanted to get on here and introduce myself. Again, my name is Jenna and welcome to my channel. I hope you subscribe, stick around, leave me a comment so we can discuss books and become friends. Have a great one.